Thanks, Dave, and thanks to ACEC for the invitation to be with you here, or ACEC as I like to call it, a whole lot of people who enjoyed math more than I did in high school. So to honor all of you engineers out there, I'm going to tell the one and only math joke I know, and it goes like this. So little Johnny comes home one day. He throws his book bag into the corner. He says, "Dad, I got sent back to the principal's office again." His dad's heard this before, of course, so he says, "Well, Johnny, what'd you do this time?" He said, "Well, it was math class. My teacher asked me a question." He said, "Well, what'd she ask you?" She said, "Well, what's 2 times 3? Dad said, "Well, what'd you tell her?" "Well, I told her it was 6. His dad said, "All right. Well, what'd she ask you then?" "Well, then she asked me what 3 times 2 is." Dad kind of mumbles under his breath, "Well, what the hell's the difference?" Little Johnny says, "That's exactly what I told her." So apparently little Johnny can add things up, but when it comes to energy policy, sometimes in this country things don't add up very well. Sometimes it's based on assumptions that we have that can lead to some irresponsible decision making. One of the more irresponsible assumptions that I think we can make as a country, and it's one that I hear every now and then, is this notion that energy infrastructure just isn't important anymore. You'll hear that there's some magic formula of small renewables and distributed generation and energy efficiency and demand response, and they're all going to come together, and they're going to just obviate the need for basic old infrastructure like pipelines and transmission lines and baseload generation and the like. But it's an irresponsible assumption, and it's not because I have anything against distributed generation and energy efficiency and demand response and small renewables and things like that. They're all very important. And they're going to be very important on a going forward basis and will become a more important part of the nation's energy resource mix, but they deny the biggest challenge that we have today, and the biggest challenges are related to affordability of energy supply and reliability of energy supply. And when it comes down to those challenges that we're facing, what we're finding is it's not the supply side of the equation that's the challenge. It's the infrastructure side of the equation that's the challenge, and that's what I'm going to talk a little bit about today, is this challenge of meeting the needs of reliability and affordability and understanding that it really is an infrastructure problem. On the supply side, people have been predicting the end of oil, the end of gas, the end of coal, the end of this, the end of that forever. And they've almost always been proven demonstrably false. But what is a truism is that infrastructure is a challenge, and we're seeing it especially in certain parts of the country. So what I'll do is I'll start out on the supply side and talk about some of the big drivers that are changing the supply side of the equation and FERC's role in that. And then I'll move over to the infrastructure side and talk about infrastructure challenges. And I'll try to hit on both, primarily the gas and oil industries, and then also the electric industry as well, because the two are quickly converging together. The story of shale gas and shale oil is, in my mind, not just the energy story of the last 10 years or so. It's really probably the energy story of the last 50 years or more in the United States.